Apparently I've got a question. Thanks, Nick. Okay, look, before a question, just a quick statement on backing yourself, which has come up probably 3 or 4 times now. I think we need to be better as a region at backing each other. I remember, Joe, 6, 7 years ago, Business Awards maybe? About then. Joe was too busy to enter the Business Awards. I drove down to her office, slapped the application form in front of her and said, "You're entering the Business Awards." I knew you could do it, I knew you could win. You won regionally and took our Business of the Year at the state level. I backed you because I knew what you had. And I reckon every person in this room here would know another business that they would back here in the region. We just need to do it. Go and tell your supplier, go and tell your customer, go and tell your colleague in the same industry, you know, I'll back you in the project. Let's make sure we act as a region in that sense. Question. See, that was my lead. It should lead to my questions, right? Jace. All right. So, Jace, you're in an industry now where you're not technically being disrupted. You're creating a disruption. You're not Australia Post where you had to make change or die. But you've gone and completely sold all of your equipment and reinvested back in your business with completely new technology. And the industry hasn't changed.
Downscale.
Yep. And you haven't had to do that. So I suppose the question is around investing in your business and making sure you get that timing right rather than waiting until the disruptions hit you and it's too late, like taxes and Ubers and like Kodak and no longer exist and all those particular ones that we all know about. You made that decision already. Was there any sort of foresight or vision that you saw that made you make that choice? And for the businesses in the room that might not even know what that choice is ahead of them, how do they sort of look at those indicators?
Sure. So, Dan, what you're referring to is, so we're a conventional, I guess, Treehouse started life as an advertising marketing agency back in 2001. We then, about just over 2 years ago, transitioned into video storytelling 100%. And that was because we made a number of short films that won big awards internationally. We thought, wow, this is all good, but how do we relate that back to the business message of what we do? So then we said, well, we'll take the storytelling success we've had in film festivals and we'll apply it to brands and businesses and assist them. And part of that process that we realised was there was a huge gap in the market, in that there was businesses would go to an agency or a video production house to get content made periodically when budget and time would allow, and would take that agency a certain amount of time to make that story for them. But there's this huge gap in the middle where brands today, they're all socially connected, they still need to be able to get messages out today. You're here sitting today at an event. How many of you are actually socially posting about what you're doing today and its relevance to your brand? So there's a few hands going, which is great. So it's about that idea of training. And so we then went in that space of looking at accessibility of storytelling tools. We fell in love with smartphone storytelling. We made lots of films on smartphones that have won awards internationally. And we said, well, how do we adapt that to a business model? How do we get brands to utilise the equipment they already have sitting in their pockets to tell their stories better? And so the result of that was we could not only, well, the start of that was we could train brands. So we started offering a number of workshops in different cities and one-on-one training with brands where we can come in, we can find your story, we can tell you how to tell it yourself. And then we reached that tipping point at the end of last year where we said, well, we're running around the world all the time telling people to film on smartphones, but we're still filming on smartphones and other gear. So we bit the bullet and threw out all our other cameras, and now we film everything we do 100% on smartphones, which is probably a bit of a shock to a lot of people. And we're talking, we do national advertising campaigns in excess of $100,000 for production budgets, shot on iPhone. And we can totally do it. The client, it's a super impressive quality. The audience at home has no clue what it's been filmed on. They don't care what it's been filmed on, as long as the story engages. And that's what we're trying to tell people. We can make a story for $1, we can make a story for $100,000, but we can do it with accessible tools that's available to us. So we backed ourselves and said, we're going to go down this journey. It's not going to be easy, and it hasn't been easy. We've learned lots of things along the way. But we've made that part of our process and part of what we did as a business. And so that's the reason I was in Zurich this week. So I can't remember what day it was, I only just flew back in. Is trying to teach colleagues in my industry, filmmakers, video producers, that are go in a room and say, hey, why the hell would I shoot something on a smartphone for a brand when they're paying for it? Well, I'm telling them there's a whole bulk of work that they're currently ignoring that they're just not picking up because they're not open to the idea of using another tool. How silly is that?
There's probably a few people in that.
Yeah, I think so. I want to know what phone mine is, by the way. Something on the phone. I just wanted to share with you that it's super fun to be a disruptor. I don't know, like, I probably at some point in my career was, you know, looking for how I was going to make a difference in this world, and it's something that a lot of younger people coming up, and I see it more and more, just want to make a difference. And you know, if you're seeing in an industry, if you're in business, you're going to be disrupted. I can tell you, there is no business, no industry that's ever going to be able to sit there and arrogantly say, no, we're safe. Like, that just doesn't exist, right? So you've got two choices. You're either the disrupted or you're the disruptor, and that's as simple as it is. And so if you want to become a disruptor, first suggestion I would say is go outside of your industry and listen to disruptors in other industries. If you sit and listen in your own industry to what your industry is saying, they're going to say, don't worry, Bob, you're safe, your business is okay, we're all going to be okay, you know, don't need to change anything, everyone else is wrong, we're going to be fine. Go outside your industry and you'll realise very quickly that there are amazing things happening. And your presentation was amazing, and I was sitting there thinking, I hope that everyone in this room fully understands that this is not Beyond 2000. Like, I grew up watching Beyond 2000 as a little kid to like
Just
go
remember
on
the theme music just played on my head.
okay, I always try and find footage from it. This is not Beyond 2000 stuff where you go and you can sit there as a kid and go, maybe one day I'll sleep 10 minutes a day or something. Like, this is legitimately 100% happening, and some of those things are scary and personally, you know, confronting, but legitimately real and not that far away, legitimately not that far away. So if those things are happening and then you sit and look at what you're doing every day, what you spend your time on every day, then as a business owner, we need to elevate our thinking and really challenge ourselves to be big thinkers and go for something much bigger than just protecting my business today. I think it's super fun to stand up and say, I'm going to be a disruptor in my space. I'm going to go and learn and grow and challenge and have ideas, and people can shoot me down, people can love me or hate me or whatever else, but I would rather live that life than sit there and be the one that say it's never going to happen and just wait, you know, and just do the same thing every day. I find that really boring.
Head in the sand is just not going to work. We're at a curve of technology expansion. It's going like this. You know, I think Angela had a graph in her presentation that was showing Moore's Law. And change used to be sort of gradual. You know, it was happening, doubling every 18 months or so. But now when you think about an already high level of technology, like driverless cars, capabilities doubling in 18 months, you start to go like this, and then this, and then this. And suddenly in 3 years, the world has shifted dramatically in just a couple of years because we've reached that hockey puck peak. And you cannot, as Joe was saying, put your head in the sand. Every industry is going to change.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
David. I work at the